especially that tiny little baby over there. I needed that. So we're going to begin tonight's service just with a warm greeting to this beautiful weather, despite the chaos, really the pain of this week, just the heaviness. This Shabbat, we get to enter into an evening of roses, of flowers, of sunshine. So let's take it where we can get it. Page 350, Shabbat Shalom, welcome. We begin with Erev Shel Shoshanim. You can follow us along in the Siddur. Erev Shel Shoshanim, Nitzena Eleha Bustan, Mor Besambi Ulevana, Liraglech Miftar. שלך שיר בית, זמר של אהבה. שחלו המעיוני, ראשך מעלה טללים, פיחל הבוקר שושנה. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome, welcome. And welcome to those with us on YouTube and those just joining us tonight. You know, our community, we're really a together group, you know, and when one of our families is hurting, in pain, we feel it collectively. And this week, we had several people in our community lose beloved family members. And we feel it. It's here, and so too is the chaos throughout our country. We feel it. We feel the heaviness, and we feel the chaos in Israel, and we just continue to feel like, will it ever just be sunshine and rainbows? Ever. And really, that's why I began with Erev Shel Shoshanim tonight, because I really need to know spring. I need to know her. I need to let her into my heart, because the springtime is where hopefulness can begin again for us. So as we bring in the candlelight and welcome in Shabbat, feel free to welcome each other, to wish one another a Shabbat Shalom. Pick someone that you don't know their name, say hello, and introduce yourself. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We continue on page 2 and 3 with our Shabbat brachot, and we call Ronnie Pressman, who is not becoming bat mitzvah tomorrow, but who is just going to make our brachot for us this evening.
I'm afraid I am well past bat mitzvah. Baruch atah Adonai ציוונו להדליק נר של Shabbat.
Amen.
We move in our Siddur to page 5. If you have a Kiddush cup, by all means, grab a hold of it, hold it tight. If you don't, put your hand up and grab mine with me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon, hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit. Ki hu yom techila lemikrae kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim. Ki vanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim. V'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. L'chaim. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
So we continue together, friends, page 20, L'chadudi. We breathe in the possibility this Shabbat. Join us. L'chadudi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, nikabila. L'chadudi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, nikabila. וזכור בדיבורך, אישי מענואל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, שם ולתפארת ולתחילה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה בני שבת we invite you to rise. גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, באוי חלה, באוי חלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה בני שבת נקבלה. Continue to stay up on our feet if we're able, or further to rise on the inside, page 146. Yay. ברכו את אדוני המבורך. Together. ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. May be seated. So as I think all of you, or certainly quite a lot of you, know, that the past couple of months we've been continuing to experiment with different ways to lift our prayer and deepen our connection to God, to each other, to Torah. And we have an incredibly artistic community in all kinds of areas, and no shortage of talented and inspired visual artists. And so tonight, again, we lift up the work of another member of our community. Tonight, we get to be inspired by the artwork of Debbie Gallant. And when Debbie and I met, and I'm gonna actually talk more about it later, she showed me a bunch of different options, beautiful things, and I thought I was gonna go with something akin to what we see outside right now, right? Cherry blossoms and good stuff. But instead, I decided that for the Ma'ariv Aravim, this prayer that is all about responding to the majesty of nature, that we would show you this one, this instead, this beautiful piece, as a way to maybe hold this not so distant memory of whatever that beautiful work inspires in you. Maybe it is a kind of a way of looking back and celebrating with gratitude all that's coming up in the earth now, or maybe something else. So I invite you, as we finish these final words of the Ma'ariv Aravim, Bauchat Adonai HaMa'ariv Aravim, blessed are you, God, who evens the evenings, who brings on the majestic world that is nature. I invite you to share your response and your experience as you watch and look and seek connection through art and through prayer. And send it into the chat. We continue our tefillah on page 148. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael, amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו, בשכבנו ובקומנו, נשיח בכוחך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגה יומם ולילה, יומם ולילה.
אהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. We continue on page 150. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בהם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת.
Emet, emet. So I know that everybody realizes probably that tomorrow night is Pesach. I'm going to say a whole bunch more about that. I saw a couple of you just put your hands over your heads, like rubbing your brow in stress. I'm sorry if you feel stressed by the coming of Pesach, but I thought that we could lift up these beautiful words, a modern midrash, a poem by Stacy Zook Robinson, who actually very sadly died all too soon just a few weeks back. This poem is Stacy's prayer to the Pesach season, and as we get ready to sing Michamocha, to sing our redemption song, this felt like a nice way to enter into that space. I pray to have faith enough to walk into my own sea of doubt and fear and darkness. I want to walk and feel the waters part, to be released from the tangled web of thought that holds me immobile and disconnected. I have learned again and again without fail, when I take that step, when I find the grace and the faith to put one foot in front of the other, to trust, as Nachshon did, I am carried forward. I am freed from my self-imposed bondage. I am enough, and I can walk again on dry land to freedom. Please join us.
Ya 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 la la, ya 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 la la, ya la la la, ya la ya la ya la ya la. Michamocha bei limadon, Michamocha bei limadon, Michamocha nedar b'kodesh. נורא תכירות אוספת, נורא תכירות אוספת. מלכותך ראו בניך, חוקי הים לפני משה ומים. זה לי, אנו ואמרו, זה לי, אנו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. One more time, Adonai. Ya ida ida ya ya la la. Ya ida ida ila. Ya la la la. Ya la la. Ya ila la. Ya la 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 la. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. We continue together, page 153. This rest, this night, may it bring on safety. May I know peace. May it all come to be. לשלום, 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 לשלום. והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים, לחיים, לשלום, 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 לשלום. ניי 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 We continue with our Amidah, page 155. We join together with our clergy associate, Ronnie Pressman, and then we continue privately. And when you are finished, we invite you to find your seat once more.
Open my eyes to truth. Open my hands to give freely. Open my lips to good words, to pure words. Open my heart to love. Open my eyes to truth. Open my hands to give freely. Open my lips to good words, to pure words. Open my heart to love. Adonai sefatayv tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Open my lips to good words, to pure words. Open my heart to love.
So we conclude our silent prayer with the words for a peaceful path forward. May we know shlemut. May we each know it speedily and soon. Page 167. Please join us from home. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. Together, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ויאמרו אמן. So friends, in a moment we are going to have a chance to lift up names of those in our families, our communities, our wider world that we know are badly in need of healing. So I invite you to add to our long list of those to whom we send our prayers to now.
מקור הברכה לאמותינו. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mikor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Thank you so much, Ronnie, and Shabbat Shalom again to everyone. I'm sorry if there's sound issues. Oy, oy, oy. There's just, I don't know, doesn't seem like there's anything I can do about it. So hopefully you can hear me. And tonight it is my great privilege to get to be your teacher, as well as your leader of prayer. Good, you can hear me just fine. Thank you, Rita. So some of you may know that every once in a while, we have a Shabbat that gets a special name. And for instance, we had Shabbat Shira a couple of months back. Shabbat Zachor is the one right before Purim. And tonight also has a special name. But it's sort of like the specialist of names, because the name of tonight is actually Shabbat Hagadol. So if you know a little bit of Hebrew, then you know that the word Hagadol means big or great. So I don't know if any of you feel like maybe you missed the message, or maybe all of you, the 36 computers here tonight and whoever else is here with us on YouTube, knows that it's a great Shabbat or a big Shabbat. But I thought we could take a few minutes tonight to talk about, I hope that you like my new earphone do. It's tech, we're very techy here. But I thought we would take a few minutes tonight to talk a little bit about how it is that the tradition understands this Shabbos, the one that directly precedes Pesach, as worthy of this name and that, all of that goes with it. So I'm going to tell you the 3 traditional answers and then a little bit about my answer. So the 3 traditional answers to what Shabbat HaGadol is all about, why it got its name. So the first one is sort of straightforward. It's from the text, and it has to do with the Haftarah, the additional reading that we do on the Shabbat from this particular Shabbat. No matter what parsha we read Parshat Tzav, and we'll read that in depth tomorrow morning, and we'll study it. But the Haftarah is from Malachi, from the prophet Malachi. And in fact, Malachi, at the end of his text to us that we read on Shabbat HaGadol, talks about how Eliyahu will herald God as HaGadol v'Hanorah, that the great and awesomeness of God will soon come, that the world will find its wholeness and its peace. And so that might be enough, right? I mean, if we do say these words every Shabbat before Pesach, maybe that's good enough for us to say, yeah, this is a kind of a big deal, this Shabbat, right? This is when just 24 hours from now, we're gonna set a table for Eliyahu, set a spot for Eliyahu, and maybe this time he will come, and perhaps this will be the very last Shabbos that we have to live with such brokenness. You can tell that I am a little skeptical about that, but you know what? That's what it's all about opening your heart to that possibility. So the second possible explanation is a little different, but it's also text-based. This time it is the fun math that the rabbis like to do. So they came up with this sort of wonderful idea that the first Exodus, the 15th of Nisan in the original, was actually on a Thursday. And that in Torah, it tells us that on the 10th day of Nisan, so just 5 days before, we are, through Moses' command, through God, to go out in public, in full view of all of our Egyptian neighbors, and choose a Korban Pesach. Choose the offering that 4 days later will be slaughtered, and that the blood of that lamb will then be used to form a kind of barrier to the danger that comes. And the Israelites do it. I mean, they're terrified. They have to go out in the middle of the day and they have to select a lamb, which is an absolute no-no in their culture with which they are a part of, that they have to live with. And yet they do it and there are no repercussions. And so the sages say that was great. That was a big, big deal. And that it just so happens it was a Shabbat, so we should always celebrate that miracle on the Shabbat prior to Pesach. So those 2 are both pretty cool. The third and final one that I'm going to talk about tonight is actually not a law. It's not a law at all. It is just a custom, but as many of us know, when customs come about, they come about through the heart, through usually a spontaneous need. And when a custom works, it can sometimes throughout the generations feel like it has as much weight as law, sometimes even more. So there is a custom and I learned about this custom actually from Rabbi Kushner, this custom that Shabbat HaGadol is actually one of only 2 Shabbatot throughout the entire year where the religious leader of the community is expected to give a significant sermon, a lengthy one. So in this case, Gadol, this doesn't mean Gadol great so much as it does, I'm gonna be at shul for a long, big, long time. And I'm gonna expect to hear my religious leader really go on and really, really, really pack a punch. And you know, I kind of get that. I get where and Rabbi Kushner actually used to joke to me that, it's a shame that he's not the rabbi of a really traditional community, because then he would only have to give 2 sermons a year on Kol Nidre and on Shabbat HaGadol, the two times that traditional religious leaders typically speak at great length. And so I was thinking about it, and I thought, yeah, if I'm a traditional Jew and I know to kind of check off on my calendar Shabbat HaGadol right before Pesach, the rabbi is going to give us some really major teaching, I get there. And I spend as much time there as I need. But you know what's really strange? The sermons that the traditional communities expect to hear on Shabbat HaGadol, I'm sure there are outliers and different, and so you'll text me if I'm wrong. But from what I have learned, the sermon is very, very much the same year after year, community to community. Because the choice of the Rabbanim on Shabbat HaGadol is actually not to talk about the future of Judaism, or the big, big questions we wrestle with, or our own theologies, or the politics of the day. Actually, on Shabbat HaGadol, the rabbis decide to take it all the way back to the basics and spend their entire exposition on the halacha of Pesach, so that the entire sermon is about the minutiae, the details of how to observe the holiday we are about to enter into. So when I learned that, I had 2 feelings at once. One was sort of judgy, and the other was jealous. So I'll tell you about the judge first. The judge sort of said, wow, what a waste. You've got your whole community there. You could be telling them something extraordinary, and you tell them about how to get rid of the chametz the right way. So, right, my judge comes out. And the other part, sort of the jealous, is I kind of wish that were enough for me. I kind of wish that as a real entry point into my heart, I could just do the mitzvot for Pesach in a very intentional way, and that would draw me close and make me feel that experience of connection way, way, way beyond the head and deep into the soul space. But that's not my relationship to mitzvot. I mean, before I came to shul tonight, all the family together this afternoon were cleaning the house and getting it ready, and as Lior likes to say, dechametzifying. But it's something lovely, but it doesn't do what I need my Judaism to do. And I thought about my great-grandparents, and I thought about them going to shul on Shabbat HaGadol. I'm named for my great-grandmother, and actually, I know that keeping a kosher home and taking intense seriousness with each of the mitzvot related to each holiday, that was their Judaism. That was their point of entry. There really weren't any other choices. And for us, it's different. And so I thought, you know what? Halacha, the word, means the law, but it actually means the way. And so maybe these rabbis are really onto something. These traditional communities know that if we go back to the basics, the way, the halacha, we will feel the foundation under us, and all that we need will come. And so I thought at the beginning of the week, okay, I'm going to talk about what the way is. The ner tamid, the way. And you can imagine that 24 hours of thinking that way, I got very, very burdened. And I felt like there was no way I was going to find the answer. And then I met with Debbie Gallant. And we looked at a whole bunch of her paintings together because we were trying to choose the one to do at the beginning. And then a painting came up. And I had such a response to it. In fact, I'm going to invite our tech to put it up now for all of you to see. And I looked at it, and I saw these words at the bottom. He taught us to dive under waves. And I said right away to Debbie, whoa, tell me about this one. What was your inspiration? And she began to tell me that this was one of many wisdom teachings of her father, that after his death a couple of months back, she began to lift out of her memory and inspired this work. And my head started making loop-de-loops with the beautiful metaphors of he taught us to dive under waves. And then I realized that the way for me, and I think the way for each of us, is always going to be coming back to those foundational learnings. And that's really what the halacha for Pesach is. It's about getting us to tap back into the ultimate message of messages, which is that we were suffering and we were heard and given a path to freedom. And for no other reason save that we are existing and deserving of love simply because of our humanity. And so I thought, you know what? We are a smart and thoughtful community. Maybe tonight, all we need is to lift back up our way, our foundational learnings that we know if we bring out, we form a strong and determined foundation under us and the container to safely navigate these sort of wild, wavy waters in front of us and find our way from narrowness to freedom. And so tonight, friends, I want you to teach each other by sharing in the chat your foundational wisdom pieces that live in you. I'll tell you one of mine. It's from my grandfather of blessed memory. He told me, Mary, always keep the fire burning in your belly. Always keep it going. And it's something that I come back to again and again, even when I'm tired and I don't feel the creative fire burning. I remember it. I come back to it. I stand with it again. So please lift up these wisdoms tonight. Let us learn from each other and feel inspired both by Debbie's gift to us and our ability to really learn from everything, and especially from one another. So Chag Sameach and Shabbat Shalom. We continue with Aleinu. I want to see those foundations. God is just a breath away. Yeah. My father taught me, you play the hand you're dealt with, as much grace, dignity, and humor as is humanly possible. Yeah. What else, friends?
We rise if you're able. We turn to page 282 for Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoye haratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot adam ha. Shelo samchelkeinu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, lifnei melech, malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. We move ahead to page 287. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding. Loved each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace. V'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz. Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad. Ushemo echad. Turn to page 294. Our thoughts now turn to those who we love, who have passed from life. As is the way of our people, through our recitation of Kaddish, we honor their lives by praising God for letting us walk at their side, and they at ours, for even our little time. I invite you, if you're so inclined, to individually rise in your seat as I call the name of your loved ones. Yard sites for this Shabbat: Anne F. Abrams, Bella Busin, Irma Clayman, Manis Cohn, Andrew Cohen, Jacob Cohen, Meyer Fishman, Benno Fittengoff, Louis Gash, Ida Gelb, Alex Glasser, Clara Gross, Samuel Hilton, Sidney Horowitz, Benjamin Samuel Herwood, Stanley Jacobson, Harry Kahaner, Rebecca Katz, Sadie Katz, Sanford Kessler, Harry Lawrence, Bess Leopold, Jerry Lindell, Fanny Malik, John H. McNamara, Ann Meyer, Razel Mishanek, Marvin Najberg, Sam Nussbaum, Maurice Rich, Muriel Rifkin, J. Lauren Rosenberg, Ludwig Seaman, Shirley Sayer, Norma Siegel, Joseph Singman, Bessie Solomon, Sarah Spiller, John J. Twers, Samuel Weistein, Gwen Wurtzel. For those who are in the Shiva and Shloshim periods of mourning, Violet Lavender, mother of Diane Lavender, and there will be a Shiva on Monday evening. Please check your Garrett for that at 7. Neil Robert Elson, brother of Linda and Indek. Edith Shabbat, mother of Carrie Shabbat. Michael Kahn, father of Gregory Kahn. Richard Nealis, brother of Sharon Rosen. Jerry Catalan, uncle of Aaron Javier. Barbara Gorlin, mother of Cindy Sherman. In addition, please rise and put the name in the chat if you are marking a yard site that may not have been on this list. And finally, if there's anyone here in their 1-year period of mourning, to please stand and share that name in the list as well, so that we can all see those folks. And if you give me 2 seconds, I might be able to do 2 things at once, but type and talk are not the same thing. Sorry. We rise together and now in support of all of those that are marking this day. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah, v'yamad yivrach yirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'zman kariv, v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mivarach le'olam u'lamei amaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudasha b'rechu. Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata da'amiran b'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Please be seated. So there are so many announcements to make. I'm sure you can look in your Garrett, but I'm going to talk about Pesach announcements just in case you didn't get to it. Tomorrow morning, there's a Wake Up Pesach with Cantor Meredith, and she's going to do a friendly sing-along, and that's at 9 a.m. At 9 o'clock a.m. as well, Larry Westreich will be leading our weekly Torah study for this week. At 10 o'clock a.m., Cantor Meredith is going to be leading services with one of our congregants, the amazing Lisa Lisser. Please join them, and you will see them. On Sunday, March 28th, at 10 a.m., Rabbi and I will be leading the service for Pesach morning. And then, of course, we're still not finished with Pesach, by all means, be sure to, if you haven't either signed up for the virtual Seder that Cantor Meredith and I will be leading on Zoom, by all means. And if you happen to be in that group that was in for the picnic, you're in, just watch the weather. That's all I'm going to say about that. There will also be a Passover service on Sunday, April 4th at 10 a.m. And we'll also have Yizkor that morning. Outside of that, there is so much on here from Norm Pollock and his short stories, East of Eden book discussion. There will be The Soul of the Stranger, reading God and the Torah from a transgender perspective. Sign up for it. The list is so long. If I read it all, you're going to be here a lot longer than you need to. So check your Garrett by all means, and don't miss out. Have a wonderful Pesach.
Thank
Shabbat
you,
shalom.
Ronnie. Shabbat shalom and Chag Sameach to you.
Yes.
So, we're drawing to a close this final Shabbat Eve before it's really like a new year. You know, when we get to Pesach, we get this chance to do another restart, a powerful restart from narrowness to freedom. So what's it going to be for you? I wanted to just share, because I also loved this piece of art of Debbie's, one more painting. This is a phrase that's used quite regularly in the improv land. That is a stance of being in the world, yes and. So if somebody says, I'm wearing, shoes on the moon, where are you gonna, get your shoes from? You say, yes, I am on the moon with you, and let's go over to that shoe store. That was thanks to Pam Schuler for that one. The point is that it's all about acceptance and allowance. And tonight I just thought, what a beautiful, hopeful, foundational way of living. Yes, we live in a world where there is still so much violence and so much challenge and so much pain and suffering, and there is incredible beauty and kindness and hope. So yes, and for each of you as we go into this Pesach season, I hope that your hearts feel open a little bit at least. And I'm going to end the tefillah tonight. Thank you again for your artwork, Debbie, and for your leadership, Ronnie and Ed and Gallant, and of course, Randy behind the scenes. We are going to just sing you out tonight. Feel free to share your foundational wisdom with us, everybody. I'm not going to give up, but I'm going to offer this blessing, the oldest known to our tradition. Thanks to our beloved congregant Perry for writing this beautiful piece of music. So just receive as a Pesach wish from me. May God bless you with all good. May God keep all evil from you. And may God fill your heart with wisdom and grace you with all truth. May God lift up God's merciful face and shine on you for all time. And may God grant you eternal peace. Turn to the people in the room with you if you've got anyone and sing to them. May God bless you with all good. May God keep all evil from you. And may God fill your heart with wisdom and grace you with all truth. May God lift up God's merciful face and shine on you for all time. And may God grant you eternal peace. Shabbat shalom, loved ones, and Chag Sameach. See you all